Alright people, so we are back again with numerical problems in physics, and okay, so see, these are all based on Newton's laws, and as I said, these laws are basically not cannot be framed in perfect formulas. Okay, so every question comes with a different format. So you have to have a very deep understanding of how Newton's laws are applicable. Only then we will be able to crack problems of this high level. Okay, so in that case we need to have a very strong grip on the concepts, and we need to practice more and more. The variations of these problems are to a huge extent. There is a huge variety of problems, and we need to be very careful in understanding their concepts. So the best way to actually have a strong grip on mechanics part in physics is to crack as many problems as you can. Mechanics is a wide scope, and many varieties of problems can actually be framed. So let's start with today's problem here. Okay, so we have three cases here. In all these three cases, the masses are same, m1 on the top and m2 at the bottom, but the arrangements are a little different. Here we have one pulley P1. Okay, here we have two pulleys. This string passes through this. Here we have another two pulleys. One string passes through M2. Now, in each of these three segments, the block of mass 1 is being pulled left with a constant velocity. So here it is pulled by a constant velocity, let's say. So no acceleration is happening out here. Okay. Okay. Now there is no friction anywhere. The strings are light and inextensible. Obviously the strings are light and they cannot be extended, and the pulleys are massless. The ratio of the speed of the block of mass m2. What will be the ratio of the speeds of blocks of mass m2? Okay, so that is something that we have to basically calculate. Now in this case, let's look at it. Whatever will be the displacement of this will be the same displacement. If this gets displaced due to its velocity by distance x, the mass m2 will also get displaced by the same velocity. Okay, same displacement in same time. So we can say here v is equal to v of mass m1 will be equal to v of mass m2, which means velocity of mass m2 is basically v. Okay, now let's come to this one. Okay, one string, this is just one string which is basically pulling. So let's calculate it if we are not able to. So let's say this gets displaced to a new position. So this was, let's say, original position A, it gets displaced to A dash. Pulley P2, let's say it gets displaced to a new position of P2. Okay, so original length of the string was how much? A P1 plus P1 P2 plus P2L. Now the new length, there is no change in the length, it's just it has been displaced. So this will be A dash plus A P1 plus P1, we have P1 P2 plus P2L. Okay, P1 P2 plus P2L. Now this one will be P1 P2, let's say P2 dash, P1 P2 dash plus P2 dash L. So AP1 and AP1 get cancelled. Okay, we have here a P1 P2. P1 P2 can be written as P1 P2 dash plus P2 dash L. Okay, now here we have P1 P2 dash plus P2 dash L. Okay, so this will be equal to AA dash plus P1 P2 dash P1 P2. Okay, P1 P2 dash plus we can say here P2 twice. See, P1 P2 will be equal to, I'm sorry, just one moment here. Where have I kept my duster now? Okay, so here we have P1 P2. See, this P1 P2 can be written as P1 P2 dash plus P2 dash P2, again going up, plus P2 dash P2 plus P2 dash L. This is equal to AA dash plus A, this is already gone, so this will be P1 P2 dash plus P2 dash L. This and this gets cancelled, this and this gets cancelled. 2p2 dash p2 is equal to a dash. So p2 dash p2 is what? P2 dash p2 is the displacement of m2. So we can say twice of displacement of, let's say, x m2 will be equal to displacement of ma. So we can say x m2 will be half of x ma. If we differentiate it once, we will get what? Dx m2 by dt will be equal to half of dx ma by dt, which means velocity of m2 is equal to half of velocity of ma. Now velocity of ma is given as, or m2 is half of velocity of m, let's say 1, okay, m1. So this will be velocity of m2 is half of velocity. So in this case, velocity of m2 is half of v. Now let's come to this one. Okay, now again this one doesn't have the same string, it has two strings out here. If I displace this by a distance, let's say x, okay, if it gets displaced by a distance x, so tell me, this one will go by x. Now here there will be a displacement of x, and here also there will be a displacement of x. See, in this string, if this gets displaced by x, this pulley will go up by a displacement x, because of which there will be an extension this side for x, and there will be an extension this side for x as well. Okay, so basically what is happening here is, this is going this way, right? X, there will be an x displacement this side, there will be an x displacement this side, so the total displacement will be 2x. Okay, so if we say the mass m1 is displaced by a distance x, then the mass m2 will be displaced by a distance of 2x m2. So m2 mass and m1 mass, if this is a displacement, this is a, so if the velocity here, if we differentiate it once, velocity of m1 will be equal to twice of velocity of m2. Okay, velocity of m2. So in this case, velocity of m2 or this gets displaced by x m1, so this gets displaced by 2. We are making a mistake here. If this gets displaced by x, so x 2x. If this gets displaced by x m1, this gets displaced by 2x m1. So if this velocity is m1, then this velocity will be 2m1. Okay, so if this velocity, if the velocity of m is v, then the velocity of m2, then the velocity of, if velocity of m1 is v, then velocity of m2 will be 2v. So in this case, velocity of mass m2 is 2v. Velocity of mass m2 is 2v. Now we can calculate it here. Okay, we have to basically calculate the ratio of these velocities. So it will be v is to 1 by 2v is to 2v, which means 1 is to, so we can say 2 is to 1 is to 4. 2 is to 1 is to 4 is the exact answer. This will be the correct answer. Okay, have a look at it, people, and you can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so let's move on to this problem here. Okay, we have here a block of mass m and a wedge of mass m. Mass m are arranged as shown in the figure. If acceleration of mass m is found to be a, that is under root 5 meter per second square, towards right means this is going this side, so obviously this will be going this side. Okay, towards right, then find the net acceleration of mass m with respect to the ground. Okay, so let's calculate this here. Now let's look at it. See, the acceleration of mass m is, the mass m is moving this side because this is getting pushed. All systems are frictionless. This is not mentioned here, but all systems are frictionless. So this is going down. Now let's look at it. See, if I take this to be L1, L2, L3, L4, whatever. Okay, so if this is going by, let's say, if the mass m, if wedge m moves towards right, if wedge m moves towards right by a displacement x, if wedge m moves towards right by a displacement x, so here we have x minus, So the length of the string, remember this is just one string. So how much is getting reduced here? X, here also X, here also X. So 3x, the total reduction in length will be 3x. Where will this 3x go? Obviously in this one. Okay. So the block of mass m, the block of mass m will move down the incline, by a distance 3x. Okay. So now if we have to calculate the displacement, see displacement of the block of mass m, this will be equal to displacement of, so this is basically what? Displacement of block with respect to wedge. Displacement of block with respect to wedge. So displacement of block will be equal to displacement of block with respect to wedge plus displacement of wedge, right? Displacement of block will be equal to displacement of block with respect to wedge plus displacement of wedge. Okay. So now let's look at it. So here we know, see, look, displacement of block with respect to wedge is 3x in this direction, and here this is in what direction? This is x, displacement of wedge. So obviously if we have to calculate this, it will be somewhere here. Okay. So in this way we can calculate, see, we know that the resultant of two vectors is what? Now look at it, this is 37. So obviously if this is 37, this will be 53, this will be 53, so this will be again 90. Okay, we can do it in this way. If this is 37, this will be 37 by being alternate angles. So what will this angle be? 180 minus 37. So we have two vectors, one vector is of 3x, the other vector is of x. If we have to find their resultant, how will we find it? This will be x square, that is a square, plus 3x square b square plus 2x into 3x into cos of 180 minus 37. 180 minus 37. So what is this going to be? This is going to be x square plus 3x square, that will be 4x square plus 2 into 3x square, that is 6x square. Cos 180 minus theta we know is minus cos theta. So this plus will change into minus cos 37. Now cos 37, as we all know, if we have a triangle, this is 37, this is 53, this is 90. Angle opposite to the smaller side will be smaller. So this will be, so this is going to be 5. Out of these two, one is 3 and one is 4. So which one will be 3? Obviously this one will be 3 and this is 4. So cos 37 will be how much? This will be 4x square minus 6x square, 4x square minus 6x square. Cos 37 will be 4 by 5 into 4 upon 5. 4 upon 5. So this will be, we are getting x out here. Okay. So this will be 4. If I take 4 as common, so this 2x comes out, right? This will be left with 1 minus 6 by 5. 1 minus 6 by 5. Are we on the right track? No, I guess I am missing out on something. Cos 37, smaller angle, smaller side, bigger angle, bigger side. Okay. Cos 37, 180, 2 into x into 3x, 2 3 just 6 x square plus 3x square. This should be 10x square. I am so sorry. X square plus 3x square should be 10x square. Okay. So in this case we cannot pull a 2 out here. Okay. We can pull x square, taken both as common, x comes out. So this will be 10 minus this will be how much? 6 4s are 24. So that's going to be how much? X into 10, that is 50. 50 minus 24. 50 minus, this will be 10 5s are 50, 6 4s are 24. 50 minus 24, 16 by 5. So this is going to be 4x by under root 5. This will be 4x by under root 5. So we can say displacement of block, displacement of block is 4x by 5, where x is the displacement of the wedge. So in this case, acceleration of the block, if we differentiate it twice, this will be how much? Acceleration of wedge, acceleration of wedge. See, this is what? This is, see, displacement of block. Displacement of block can be written as 4 by under root 5 times this x is what? Displacement of wedge. So if we differentiating twice with respect to the same time dt, okay, so we will get acceleration of block will be 4 by under root 5 times acceleration of wedge. Now acceleration of wedge here is given as 5 under root 5. So acceleration of block will be equal to 4 under root 5 into under root 5. That will give you 4 meter per second square. None of the options is here, so D option would be correct. Okay, a nice problem. Just have a look at it once again and take a snapshot of this to have a better understanding. Alright, so in continuation with more problems out here, I'm sure you must have gone through the previous slides. So we will start with this problem out here. A block of mass 10 kg is suspended through two light spring balances. See, spring balances is something that we all must have seen. The rag pickers or the people who actually collect the garbage from our homes, especially in Indian homes, they use this kind of a balance to actually weigh the amount of garbage that they are collecting, and they pay accordingly. Okay, so this is basically a spring balance. Okay, both the scales, so this is a mass of 10 kg. There is no string in between. This is basically a hook. And this is a hook, and this is also a hook. This is a mass of 10 kg. Both the scales will, and these are light spring balances. Basically we can assume that their masses are 0. Whenever in physics you get this kind of a phrase, light, then you can assume that it's basically a mass which is 0. Okay, so the options here are both the scales will read 10 kg, both the scales will read 5 kg, which means that the mass will be distributed as 5 kg each. Okay, or the upper side will read 10 kg and the lower 0. Okay, the readings may be anything, but their sum will be 10 kg. So let's look at this. Okay, now when we talk about a spring, so let's say if we are talking about this spring A, what is the net force that is acting on this spring? Obviously there is no net force due to this spring, it is massless. So the net force that will be acting on this spring will be due to 10 kg. That is basically 10 Newton approximately, 100 Newton. And what about this one? Same will be this one. This will be being acted upon by a force of 100 Newton. So both the springs will experience a force of 100 Newton. Both the springs will individually experience a force of 100 Newton. Both the springs will individually experience a force of 100 Newton, because of which what will happen? Because of which the extension, we know that the extension produced in a spring is minus kx, right? We all know this. So the extension produced is directly proportional to the force applied. So both of them are made up of the same material and they are both spring balances to measure weights. Okay, so since both are experiencing the same force, both will undergo the same extension. So therefore both the springs will undergo the same extension, which means that, see, the extension itself is the reading. Here we are asked about the reading. Okay, the extension itself, since the extension itself will give the reading. So since the force acting on both the springs is the same, the extension produced in both the springs is going to be the same. Okay, so both springs will undergo same extension. So both the scales will read 10 kg. That's how the problem will be. Okay, so spring balances we all know are used to measure basically weights and masses. So both the springs will read a mass of 10 kg. I hope this is clear. You can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so we have here two blocks A and B of masses 2m and m. These are two blocks of masses 2m and m respectively are connected by a massless and inextensible string. So this is not a spring, this is basically a string. Okay, the whole system is suspended by a massless spring. This is basically a massless spring. This is a massless spring. The whole system is suspended by a massless spring as shown in the figure. The magnitudes of acceleration of A and B immediately after the string is cut are g by 2, g by 2 g, g and g by 2 and g by 2. So let's first look at this B. The moment you cut this, the moment we cut it, okay, so B will have an acceleration of mg. Obviously the acceleration will be ma, and this is how much? So ma of B will be equal to mg. So this means acceleration of B will be equal to g. Now let's come to this one. So we have A here, which is basically connected by a spring. This is 2 mg. This is 2 mg, and this is basically a spring. This is basically a spring. So what is this experiencing? See, the moment you cut this off, so here there was a torque, or rather there was a spring force which was generated, which was of 3 mg. Oh, sorry, 2 mg. So this is mg. Because of this, okay, because of this, there is an mg force on this A. There is basically a spring force of 2 mg acting upwards, and there is a tension of T is equal to mg, which is acting downwards. So what will be its acceleration? So 2 mg minus mg will be equal to 2m of A. 2m, let's say this is the acceleration of A. Look at this. This is basically being acted upon by a force of 2 mg, and here the tension is equal to mg. So 2 mg minus mg is equal to 2ma. Immediately after the string is cut, it will undergo an acceleration A, which is mg, 2 mg. So this will be acceleration of A is mg by 2. Acceleration of A is mg by 2. Acceleration of AB is g. So if we have acceleration of, so here we have the acceleration of A is to acceleration of B will be equal to, oh sorry, the m will get cancelled here. I am so sorry. The m will get cancelled here. So we have g by 2. So acceleration of A is g by 2. Acceleration of B is g. So this is g by 2 and g. The second option will be the correct option. Okay. Have a look at this problem once again, people. Take a snapshot if required. Okay, people. So let's solve this one here. We have two blocks of mass 2 kg. This is 2 kg and this is 2 kg, connected by a massless ideal spring. Ideal spring, massless, of spring constant. We all know what is a spring constant. It is basically F is equal to kx. So this k is equal to 10 Newton per meter. The upper block is suspended from the roof by a light string A. This is basically a light string. The system shown is in equilibrium. The string A is now cut. The string A is now cut. The acceleration of the upper block just after A is cut will be how much? G is given here as 10 meter per second square. The options given here are A 0 meter per second square, B 10 meter per second square, C 15 meter per second square, and D 20 meter per second square. So let's look at the system before the string is cut. So let's, before the string A is cut, since the system is in equilibrium, in equilibrium, let's say this is part B. Okay, let's say part B. So let's look at this. There is a 2g force which is acting upwards, and accordingly there will be a kx force which is acting upwards. Let the extension produced in the spring be kx. So here we can say 2g which is acting downwards is equal to kx, since the system is in equilibrium. Okay, so 2g is equal to kx for this block. Now let's come to this one. Okay, when this string is cut, okay, look at this. This is 2 kg. So obviously here there will be a force of 2g, and this spring is also going to exert a force. This spring is exerting a force of kx on the block B, and this spring is also exerting a force kx on this block. Just as we have tension in both the directions, we have this one in both the directions as well. Kx will be exerted on B from the block below, and kx will be exerted by the spring on block A from below as well. Okay, so in this case the kx part will also be from below. So let's say, let the acceleration of first block after string A is cut, is A. Let this acceleration be A. So what do we have here? 2. So we will have kx plus 2g. Kx plus 2g is equal to 2a. Kx plus 2g is equal to 2a. Are we getting this, people? So this will be the acceleration 2 into a. Yes. So kx will be how much? Kx is equal to 2g plus 2g is equal to 2a. 4g is equal to 2a. So therefore a is equal to 2g, which means 2 into 10, that is 20 meter per second square. So ideally we don't even need this value. Without this value also we can calculate this. Okay, so 20 meter per second square will be the correct answer. Okay, have a look at it very closely, people. Okay, people, so we have this problem here. A balloon is tied to a block. So this is basically a balloon. It is tied to a block which has a mass of 2 kg. The mass of the block is 2 kg. Okay. The tension in the string between the balloon and the block is 30 Newton. So there is a tension which has developed, and this tension is 30 Newton. Due to the wind, the string has an angle. So the string is making an angle of theta, and here cos theta is given as 4 by 5. So very conveniently we can say that sin theta is equal to 3 by 5. Obviously, see, if cos theta, just look at this angle. Okay, if cos theta is basically 4 by 5 base upon hypotenuse, so this has to be 3. So sin theta will be 3 by 5. Okay, relative to the vertical direction, cos theta is equal to 4 by 5. Assume g to be 10 meter per second square. Force on the block due to the wind can be ignored. Due to the wind, the force on the block can be ignored. The x component and the y component of acceleration A of the block. Now we have to calculate the x component and the y component of the acceleration of the block. We are ignoring this. See, the wind is exerting a force on the balloon, but the wind is incapable of exerting a force on this mass. Okay, so let's calculate this. Now we have options. Go. Okay, so if I calculate this T, what will be the net force on the block along x-axis? What will be the net force on the block along the x-axis? So look at this x-axis. Here it is T. So T sin theta, right? T sin theta, which means 30 into how much? Sin theta has a value of 3 by 5. So this will be 18 Newton along the x-axis. So 18 Newton force is along this. Okay, net force along y-axis, net force in vertical direction or y-axis, vertical direction or y-axis. What will this be? This will be T cos theta, that is 30 into 4 by 5, that is 24 Newton minus its weight, which is minus 2 into 10, 2 kg, so 2 into 10, so that will be 4 Newton. Okay, so this 4 Newton is acting along this direction, this 18 Newton is acting along this direction. Now all we need to calculate is the acceleration of the block. So acceleration along the x direction will be the net force which is acting along the x direction, that is x direction upon its mass of the block. So net force acting along the x direction is 18 Newton as we have calculated. Mass of the block is 2, so this will be 9 meter per second square. Similarly, acceleration along the y direction will be the component of force along the y direction upon the mass, which is how much? Which is basically we have here 4 Newton, 4 by 2, that will be 2 meter per second square. So the very first option will be the right option. Okay, I hope these problems are getting cleared, people. Take snapshots of these problems, clarify if any doubts. Okay, so let's look at this problem here. A lift of total mass m is raised by cables from rest through a height h. So this is basically the height h by which it is raised. The greatest tension which the cables can safely bear is nmg. The maximum speed of lift during its journey, if the action is to be the shortest time, is, you have been given these 4 options. Okay, so they look a little complicated. Let's see how we can resolve this. Okay, now when the lift is, so when it is under maximum acceleration, when it is under maximum acceleration, so maximum acceleration is nmg. It is going up, right? This lift is going up with nmg, right? Can safely bear. This is the maximum tension. So this maximum tension will actually result in maximum acceleration. Okay, so this nmg which is going up minus, obviously there will be mg, because lift of load of total mass. A lift with its total mass is m. A lift with its total load and mass is m. So obviously there will be a downward force of mg acting downwards. So nmg minus mg, this is going to be ma. This is going to be ma. Okay. Right. So here we have nmg. No. If we take out mg as common, this will be n minus 1 is equal to m into a. So here we have a is equal to g n minus 1. A is equal to g n minus 1. Okay. Now if we were to calculate the maximum velocity attained, see, this is, understand the motion of this lift. Okay, this is going up. It starts from an initial velocity of 0. Why? Because here it is raised by cables from rest. So it will be u 0. Somewhere here it will attain its maximum velocity. During this time it will have the maximum acceleration of n minus 1 into g. This will be the maximum acceleration. From here it will, so this is basically the entire height, wherein it will attain a velocity of 0. There the velocity will be 0. This is the maximum height attained by it. Okay, so there are 2 parts of the motion. One in which the acceleration is happening, and obviously during this part retardation is happening. Maximum speed attained is Vm, which we have to calculate. Okay, so Vm will be how much? If you look at it, u plus at, which will be how much? U is 0, a we know for the accelerated part. For accelerated part, let's say we name this as T1. So let's okay. So here it is 0, a, we have g n minus 1. This entire thing becomes 0 plus a g n minus 1 into T1 is equal to Vm. So T1 will be Vm by g n minus 1. T1 will be Vm g minus 1. Are we clear on this one, people? Okay. Let's now move on to the next question here. Next part here. Here the acceleration is basically retardation. Retardation means how much of retardation? Obviously now retardation will be how much? G, or we can say minus g. So here the final velocity is 0. Here we are tracking this motion. Here the velocity is Vm and this is 0. So Vm minus g, let's say the time taken for that upliftment is T2. Okay, so here we have T2 is equal to Vm by g. If we were to plot it in the graph, see, the graph calculation will be very easy. Let's say if we were to plot it in a graph, okay, so this would be the maximum velocity attained by it, and after this will be 0. So let's say this is the time T1 taken and this is the time T2 taken. This is basically a velocity time graph. Now we all know that the displacement which is there in a velocity time graph will be always the area under the curve. So what will be the area of this triangle? So h can be written as half of base, that is T1 plus T2 into height, that is Vm. H can be written as this. Okay, Okay. So now what we will do is 2H is equal to T1 plus T2 into Vm. So let's add this T. We have got the values of T1 and T2. So T1 here is Vm by G n minus 1 and T2 is Vm by G into Vm. If we take out Vm by G as common, so multiplying this, we have Vm square by G. What do we have inside? 1 by n minus 1 minus 1 by 1. Okay, so this is going to give us Vm square by G n minus 1. So this will be 1 minus n plus 1. Minus n minus 1 will give you 1. So we have here no, this was plus, I am so sorry. Okay, so this was plus, so it remains 1 plus 1 plus n minus 1. This is equal to how much? This is equal to H. Okay, this is equal to H. So we have here H, space management. H is equal to Vm square by G n by n minus 1. Okay, so in this case we will have Vm square is equal to Hg into n minus 1 upon n. Are we getting close to any of these answers? Why are we not getting close? Oh, half. We are missing this half. So, this 2 is there, right? We have transferred the 2 here. So, this will be 2h. Sorry. 2h. G n minus 1. Are we cutting close? Yes, there you go. Okay. So, Vm will be equal to under root of 2h G n minus 1 upon n. So, this would be the right answer here. Okay. Have a look at this, people, and in case of any confusions, please feel free to post your comments. Okay, so let's look at this problem, a little complicated here and a little longer one as well, but one which can clarify a lot of doubts and give you deep insights into problems relating to Newton's laws of motion. So here we have two massless strings. Look at this very carefully. Two massless strings slide on a smooth circular loop of the wire. So these are massless rings, basically massless strings which are sliding on a smooth circular loop of the wire, whose axis lies in the horizontal plane. A smooth massless inextensible string passes through the rings. These are basically rings. Okay, which carries masses m1 and m2 at the ends and mass m3. So there is a mass m3 out here between the rings. Okay, between the rings there is a mass m3. Okay, so this ring will have, so this is basically mass m1, mass m2. This is ring A, ring B, and between them there is a mass m3 between the rings. If there is equilibrium when the connecting to each other, if there is equilibrium when the line connecting each ring with the center subtends an angle 30 degree with the vertical. So this is basically, let's say, the center, and we have this as line connecting with the vertical is 30 degrees. Line connecting with the vertical will be 30 degrees. Okay, in the figure. So this is basically two massless strings slide on a smooth circular loop. Okay, so now we have been given options. The ratio of the masses are m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m3, and so on and so forth. So how are we going to calculate this? See, this ring is being acted upon by this tension, and this ring is also being acted upon by this tension. Okay, for this ring not to slide, see, this ring will slide if there is a component of velocity along this direction or acceleration in this direction. So this is what, see, this is 90 degrees. So we have to see to it that the resultant of these two tensions, passes through this, because only then, understand this very deeply, people, if the resultant of these two tensions passes through the center, we know that the radius and the tangent are perpendicular to each other. So this resultant will obviously have no component along this direction, along the tangential component. Okay, so in that case, T along, let's say we name this as E, and we name this as, let's say, A, B, E, C, let's say D and F. Okay, so tension along AD should be equal to tension along AE. Tension along AD should be equal to tension along AE, and tension AD should be making an angle of, see, this is 30, this is basically 30. If I take this to be alternate angles, so this will be 30, this and this will be 30, obviously this also has to be 30. Okay, tension AD should be making an angle of 30 degree, making an angle of 30 degree, and also tension AE should be making an angle of 30 degree for equilibrium. Why? Because in that case the resultant tension, see, this is more of a conceptual problem rather than a calculative problem. Okay, so in that case the resultant, this will be the resultant. See, this is the resultant. We don't need to calculate this. This will be the resultant. The resultant will pass through center, and hence its tangential component will be 0. We know that T cos 90 or whatever, R cos 90 will be 0. So there is no acceleration that will happen in this case. Okay, so this is not going to slide down. Same will be applicable to this one as well. In a similar way, we can say that tension acting along BC, what way we name this, BF. Okay, tension acting along BF will be equal to tension acting along BE, let's say T, and both will have a resultant, or rather let's say if this is 30, obviously this will be 30 and this will be 30 as well. Okay, both will be equally inclined to the radius BC. Otherwise there will be a tangential component and then this will slide down. So in order to ensure that it is not sliding down, as per the question, there is equilibrium which is maintained. Okay, so this is not sliding down, hence there is an equilibrium which is maintained. So TBF will be equal to TBE, this will be equal to T. Okay, so in this case now we can say what? So in this case, what are the tensions that are acting here? So let's say here we have T, or whatever the resultant of T is. Okay, so we have T here, and this will be mg, okay. So obviously if it is in equilibrium, we don't have options here. Okay. So here the T is equal to mg, here also the T, this is T is equal to m1g, this is T is equal to m2g, this is T equal to m2g. Obviously what will happen here in this portion, since it is 30 degrees, okay, look at this angle very closely. This is 60, so being alternate angles, this will be 60. Again, this is 60, being alternate angles, this will be 60. So between these two T's, we have an angle of 120 degree, and this will balance. This T1 is equal to M1G, M2G. This will balance only if this is also 120 degrees. Okay. So in this case, it will be balanced only if this also happens to be T. So here we have M3G, which is T. So we can say that T is equal to T, that is M1G is equal to M2G is equal to M3G, which means M1 is equal to M2 is equal to M3. A very conceptual problem which has deep insights about Newton's laws of motion. A very deep insight into it. There are no calculations out here, you just have to crack this more by your conceptual thinking. The first thing that is striking out here is that in order for this to slide down, there has to be a resultant acceleration which will be acting in this direction, which means that there has to be a resultant force which will be acting in this direction. Now the resultant force will only be generated if there is a resultant acting in this direction. Now if this resultant is acting in this direction which passes through O, okay, so obviously they will be bisected and this will not pass through it, and there will be no resultant force, no resultant acceleration. The system will stay in equilibrium. Coming to this, there is tension here, we have calculated the values of tension, both are equal. Obviously this also has to be tension T, which is M3G. So all these three tensions will be inclined at an angle of 120 degree each to create a proper equilibrium. The proper equilibrium will only be created when these are two are T, and this also happens to be T, and each of them has an angle of 120 degree between them. So obviously this condition will be justified. Okay, I hope this clarifies a lot of concepts about Newton's laws of motion. We have been doing problems in quite a number of series. Please do watch these videos at length, and there might be mistakes here and there. Please do feel free to post your comments if there are mistakes, so that we can get it rectified and make sure that you get the right amount of knowledge. But the only way to crack Newton's laws of motion is by practicing as much as you can on all the problems. The more problems you practice, the more will be the deeper will be the insights that you get about this particular topic, which is not bound by any kind of formulas or shortcut methods. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for your time, people.